Picture this. A realtor wakes up, checks their dashboard, and sees 10 new qualified appointments booked this month. They did not send a single cold email, write a single script, or upload a single clip themselves. Somewhere in the background, a Gemini 3.0 powered system has been watching their content, slicing videos, writing outreach, and updating their CRM like a full digital operations team. Here is the twist. That system was not built by a Silicon Valley research lab. It was built by one person with mostly no-code tools, and it throws off over $100,000 a year in value for clients. For a few years, the AI game was simple. Open a chatbot, type a clever prompt, screenshot the result, post it on social, and hope it went viral. That gold rush is over. The real money now flows to people who turn models like Gemini 3.0 into end-to-end systems that quietly run parts of a business. And here is the part most people have not caught up to yet. You no longer need to train models or manage Kubernetes clusters to do this. You need to design workflows, not research papers. Think about how old-school AI projects looked. Huge datasets, custom models, ML ops pipelines, specialist engineers arguing over hyperparameters. That was research. The new wave looks like product. Off-the-shelf models like Gemini 3.0 Claude and GPT-4o become utilities, like electricity in the wall. The differentiation now lies above the API call in the orchestration layer. In a minute, I will show you why whoever controls the triggers, context, and routing ends up controlling the margin. Jack Roberts, one of the builders behind this new approach, uses Gemini 3.0 as the brain of his stack, but the real value is how he wraps it. He layers N8N workflows, a bit of Node.js glue code, and external AP is into a repeatable architecture that any paying client can understand. Input data, automated reasoning, measurable output. That is it. This is not a cute demo. It is a productized asset with a price tag, and that price tag can easily cross $100,000 per year. Here is the shift that quietly changes who gets to build. You do not need to be the person who trains a transformer model. You need to be the person who understands a niche problem, designs a reliable pipeline, and orchestrates tools so the system runs with almost no human babysitting. Roberts frames his $100,000 build as a playbook, not a lottery ticket. Pick a narrow, high-value outcome like book 10 qualified sales calls per month or ship 30 SEO optimized posts per week, then design a system that guarantees that outcome using commodity models. Charge for the outcome, not the prompts. Let us zoom into Gemini 3.0 itself because it is not just a chatty autocomplete. It behaves more like a junior product team in a box. Thanks to long context reasoning, it can chew through hundreds of pages of specs, Figma exports, and API docs in a single session, then turn that into working product logic. Feed it a brand guide, a sales script, and a CRM schema, and it can design the flows and the interface that tie them together. And here is the part nobody expected a few years ago. Google AI Studio now feels less like a toy and more like a real development environment. Inside AI Studio, you can literally type a brief in plain language. Build a client onboarding dashboard with Stripe billing, task timelines, and status alerts. Gemini responds with data models, REST endpoints, and front-end components in React or Vue, wired to its own APIs. Earlier models could spit out a login page or a random Python snippet, but they struggled to hold an entire system in their head. With Gemini 3.0, text, images, screenshots, and PDFs all feed into one multimodal reasoning stack. In other words, design and logic evolve together instead of living in separate silos. Gemini does more than obey. It pushes back like a good teammate. Describe a $100,000 per year outreach system, and it will propose segmentation rules, A/B test structures, and pricing tiers, not just email copy. It will critique your funnel, suggest alternative user journeys, and flag missing edge cases like no flow for failed payments or no re-engagement path after 30 days. That is a huge mindset shift. You are not just prompting a bot. You are collaborating with a model that can argue about business logic at noon and refactor your front end by 12:05. So, what does a $100,000 AI automation actually look like in the wild? Call it a productized system. Not a chatbot, not a one-off script, but a packaged automation that reliably spits out a specific business result for a narrow niche. Think 30 qualified listing leads per month for solo realtors or daily TikTok clips from every new podcast episode sold as a subscription. Where hobbyists build tools, system builders ship assets. And in a moment, we will walk through the nervous system that makes those assets run themselves. The difference between a clever tool and a real asset is context and memory. A one-off tool is like a Zapier flow you have to babysit. A productized system wraps its Gemini logic in engineered context, persistent memory, and guardrails so any client can plug in their data and get the same outcome again and again. Instead of re-explaining a brand voice and audience in every prompt, the system stores it in a structured knowledge base, then injects only the relevant slices into Gemini 3.0. That is how you move from AI that kind of remembers to an automation that behaves like a specialized employee. Now, meet the nervous system of this whole thing. N8N. Nervous systems make organisms useful, and N8N plays that role for Gemini 3.0. It turns a powerful model into a predictable machine that runs on triggers, rules, and data instead of vibes and copy-paste coding. A workflow might start when a form is submitted, a CRM record changes, or a YouTube upload fires a webhook. N8N grabs the data, calls Gemini, transforms the output, and pushes results back into the tools your client already lives in. Imagine a real estate outreach system. A new lead fills out a type form. N8 and instantly pulls the answers, enriches them via a data provider API, sends a structured brief to Gemini 3.0, then writes a personalized email, logs it in HubSpot, and schedules a follow-up task in Asana. No one had to open a browser tab. And here is the crucial point. Most of the unique system logic now lives in that N8N graph. Two builders can use the same Gemini prompt, but their workflows can behave wildly differently because their triggers, branches, and safeguards are different. Zoom out, and the modern AI system blueprint looks surprisingly compact. At the center, a single AI brain, usually Gemini 3.0, acting as strategist, designer, and coder. Around it, a ruthless automation layer like N8N, listening for events and routing data. A bit of Node.js glue code catches edge cases, handles rate limits, and does the stuff you do not want Gemini improvising. Then you bolt on real-world AP is like YouTube data, Buzzabout, CRMs, and booking tools. Think less app, more factory line that turns prompts into money. So how do you go from a vague idea to a working app with this stack? Most people start with, I want an AI that books meetings for realtors or an agent that rewrites YouTube scripts. Step 1 happens inside Google AI Studio. You describe the interface and behavior in plain language. A 3-panel dashboard, inbox on the left, lead details in the middle, AI suggestions on the right, dark theme, Tailwind, React. Gemini 3.0 replies with JSX, CSS, and sample data flows you can test right there. Design does not start from a blank canvas either. You can grab a few reference shots from Dribble, maybe a SaaS analytics dashboard, a clean CRM layout, a mobile inbox. Feed the screenshots or URLs into Gemini, and it reverse engineers the layout, spacing, and component structure. The code it outputs looks like something from a polished startup, not a weekend hack. Then you export that code to Node.js, where real AP is, and wrap everything in N8N workflows. Suddenly, your half-baked idea is a pipeline with triggers, data fetches, Gemini calls, and CRM updates. Here is where the real secret sauce lies. Context engineering. Instead of stuffing every detail about your niche, tone, and rules into every API call, you store them once in a system prompt, a vector store, or a config file in GitHub. Each workflow step passes compact references like IDS, tags, or short summaries, so Gemini can pull the right instructions without hitting token limits. Over time, you treat that context as product IP. Win rate data, best performing subject lines, client-specific rules, and odd edge cases all get folded back into that knowledge base. Now, let us talk about money, because this is where it gets real. Most $100,000 systems do not look like flashy SaaS startups. They look like unsexy, high-leverage automations that quietly mint cash because they own a specific outcome. More leads, more booked calls, more revenue. Model 1 is classic high-ticket client work. You sit down with a business, map their pipeline, then design a bespoke Gemini-powered system that plugs into their CRM, email, and ad stack. Agencies regularly charge $5,000 to $25,000 per build, plus a monthly retainer to keep it tuned. A typical engagement might sound like this. Replace our SDR team with an AI outreach engine. You wire N8N to scrape targeted leads, run them through Gemini for deep personalization, then push sequences into HubSpot or Close. If that system books 30 to 50 qualified calls a month, a $3,000 to $7,000 retainer suddenly looks cheap. And here is the strategic twist. Clients are not paying for Gemini trivia or pretty workflow diagrams. They are paying for a predictable result that hits their revenue dashboard every single month. All of this leads to a new job title that did not really exist a few years ago: AI System Architect. Your work is not to be the smartest prompt engineer in the room. Your work is to choose the outcome, design the pipeline, orchestrate Gemini 3.0, N8N, Node.js, and APIs, and then wrap it in a product clients can understand. In a world where models keep getting cheaper and better, the durable asset is the system that turns raw AI into recurring revenue. So here's your takeaway. The AI gold rush of clever chat prompts is over. The next wave belongs to builders who can turn Gemini 3.0 and no-code tools into compact, opinionated systems that own a specific business result. If you want more deep dives on real-world AI architectures, pricing models, and step-by-step build walkthroughs, hit subscribe right now.